Each story has one last day. Only nobody knows when he's living it. The light of dawn slips slowly on the immense ferns. The humidity of the night turned into small light drops. The air was warm, denser. It smelled of resin, wet ground, and freshly broken leaves. FX equals bird_chirp. The pack was already on its way, step by step, with the calm of those who never knew the rush. Every movement made the ground vibrate. A constant rhythm, almost reassuring. I was one of the youngest. I walked by the adults. Then I slowed down. I stopped watching a bug. A leaf. The prince left during the night. Everything seemed new. Everything seemed destined to exist forever. FX equals wind_soft. In front of us, the forest was breathing. In the distance, a pack of huge sauropods slowly advanced. Small mammals disappeared among the roots. The pterosaurs stretched over the valley using the hottest air currents. The world was alive. Everywhere, no one fought against time. The sun would come back tomorrow. At least that seemed. Then something changed. It wasn't a noise. It was his absence. Birds stopped singing. The wind stopped. For an instant, even the forest seemed to hold its breath. FX equals heartbeat_slow. I slowly lifted my gaze, much higher than the treetops. There was a small bright spot, almost invisible. Too far to be afraid. Too close to be ignored. That little point in heaven continued to follow me in thoughts. The pack, however, continued, like he always did, like nothing changed. We crossed a clearing where the grass came almost to my back. The air was still warm, but something seemed different. The intense scent of plants left room, at times, to a drier smell. More dusty, hard to recognize. Adults slowed down. They weren't talking. They couldn't, but it was enough to observe their movements. The heads were lifted more often. The nostrils were looking for smells brought by the wind. The tails remained rigid. Something made them nervous. Not far away, a group of small mammals came out of the burrows. They remained real, with nose facing in the same direction. Then, suddenly, they disappeared underground again, altogether. The other animals seemed to change behavior too. The pterosaurs flew lower. The insects were less numerous. Even the great predators, normally invisible during the hottest hours, left fresh footprints near the river, like they're looking for something, or trying to avoid it. We reached the water. Every day was a party. The younger ones ran. Adults drank slowly. Not that time. The pack remained silent. Drink quickly, and resumed the path, without stopping. When the sun began to come down, I went back to look at the sky. The bright spot, he didn't disappear. He was still there, almost imperceptible, and maybe a little brighter. No one could know what was happening, but Earth had already begun to change. The valley seemed the same. Yet he wasn't. The afternoon light made copper rocks. The air was still, too real. Not even the tallest leaves moved. The pack slowed down. Adults spontaneously spread everything around the younger ones. No one ordered it. It was an ancient gesture, instinctive. The prudence had taken the place of tranquility. It was then that the ground began to vibrate. Once, then another. Very slowly, every animal lifted the head at the same instant. Even the bugs seemed to have been hiding. Silence became almost deafening. Among the trees, a gigantic predator appears. He was walking fast. Each step bended the shrubs. Each breath produced small clouds of steam in the hot air. He wasn't hunting. He seemed to observe, like he was looking for an answer too. The pack remained still. No one escaped. The predator continued his journey. He crossed the clearing. He lifted his face to heaven. He stood still for a few moments. Then he disappeared again in the forest. It was the first time I saw a giant walk away without chasing anyone. He didn't seem scared. He seemed restless. And that difference, he was much more afraid. At sunset, the sky colored intense red, more intense than usual. The small bright spot was still there. I could find him now without looking for him. Like every hour becomes a little more obvious. No one could imagine that millions of creatures, big and small, were observing the same sky. Same thing, same fate, without knowing that the remaining time, he was consuming himself. The night came slowly, but it wasn't a night like the others. The shadows stretched between the trees. The air remained still. Even smells seemed weaker, like the forest holds its breath. The pack found shelter near a group of large conifers. Adults formed a circle. The youngest gathered in the center. It was an ancient habit, a gesture that protected the predators. That night seemed to protect from something different. I woke up. I looked at the sky. The stars filled the darkness. I saw them every night of my life. But, he wasn't in his place. He didn't tremble like the others. He didn't follow their slow movement. It was bright, fixed, and it seemed to grow. Many animals were still awake. Pterosaurs had not searched for the tallest trees. Small mammals ran between the roots without stopping. Even the large herbivores continued to change their position. No one could find peace. Scientists today believe that the asteroid was now well visible in the sky in the last moments of his journey. We can't know exactly when the animal started to notice it, but he was already doing them differently. Just before dawn, close your eyes for a few moments. The soil was still warm under the body. Silence was absolute. Too absolute. Then, a slight vibration crossed the earth, so light to look imaginary. Yet, the adults rose all at the same time. Nobody looked at the forest anymore. Everyone looked at the sky. Dawn arrived. But the sun, it was not the first light to appear in the sky. The bright point of the previous evening had changed. It was bigger, much bigger, and he was crossing the sky. She didn't look like a star. She didn't sound like a comet. It seemed fire. No animal had ever seen anything like this. The pack stopped. Even predators. For a brief moment, no one was hunting anymore. Everyone looked up. The world seemed to have forgotten to breathe. The air suddenly became warmer. The wind changed direction. The primitive birds flew all together. They didn't follow a course. They fled. Adults started running for the first time since I was born. I won the pack run without knowing where to go. So did I. Between the ferns, in the trees, on the rocks. The ground vibrated more and more. Each step was more difficult than the previous. Today we know that the asteroid had a diameter of about 10 kilometers. He traveled tens of thousands of miles an hour. In the sky of the Cretaceous appeared as a light destined to become more intense. How long did the animals really have to look at it? We can't know, but their behavior allows us to imagine that nature had already perceived what was about to happen. I lifted my eyes once again. The light now occupied part of the sky. It was blinding. Bianca, with a long, fuzzy trail that seemed to divide the firmament into two. For a moment, the day seemed to turn into a second sun, and it was then that the whole world became light. Then, the light disappears. For a fraction of a second, time seemed to stop. The pack kept running, but every noise, he was gone. The world held its breath. To thousands of kilometers away, beyond the horizon, a large body, almost as a mountain, struck the earth. The liberated energy was so immense that it had no comparison in the history of humanity. No animal could understand it. I felt alone. Earthquake. The ground exploded under the legs. The trees bowed. The rocks jumped like light leaves. A boat crossed the world. He didn't come from heaven. It came from the earth itself. Lost balance. Roll along a slope. The dust filled the air. Breathing became difficult. In front of me, the adults tried to get up. Some could. Others remained real. Nobody knew what was happening. Then the wind came. It wasn't normal cold. It was an invisible wall. Hot, violent, load of dust and fragments of trees. He passed over the forest with an impossible force to imagine. When I could open my eyes, the sky. It was no longer blue. A giant cloud obscured the horizon. The sun was still there, but it seemed so far away. At that moment, nobody knew the worst. he still had to come. The wind. At the end, he stopped. Only the faint breath of those who survived. I got up slowly. Every muscle hurt. His legs trembled. The powder covered the skin. The smell of the forest was gone. In his place, ash. Land burned. Broken wood. The pack was no longer a pack. Some were called with deep verses. Others remained real. Many they didn't answer anymore. The path we walked every day was unrecognizable. Giant trees lay on the ground. The ferns were crushed. The river had become a mud expanse. Then something even more disturbing happened. Light began to decrease. It wasn't sunset. It was still day, yet the sky became darker and darker. Today we know that billions of tons of dust, ash, and rock fragments were thrown into the atmosphere. Those particles slowly began to hide the sun. Not in a few minutes. But change had already begun. I looked up. The luminous disk appeared blurred, as behind an increasingly dense fog, shadows stretched. The temperature started slowly down. The animals moved without a direction. No one was looking for food anymore. No one defended the territory. There was only one question: how it survives when even the sky has changed? That was just the first day. The winter of the earth. He still had to start. The days continued to pass, or at least, I thought it was days. The sun had become a pale spot behind a gray sky. Sometimes, I couldn't even figure out when the morning started. The heat had disappeared. Every dawn brought a colder air. The big ferns began to bend. The leaves became dark. Many did not get up again. We walked without a goal. The plains we knew were silent. The ponds retreated slowly. The trees produced less leaves. The smell of vegetation left room for that of the wet land. And ash. Sometimes we met other branches. They didn't fight for the territory. They weren't challenging. They were watching. Then everyone slowly resumed their journey. Like everyone was looking for something. That no longer existed. Today, scientists believe that dust and soot remain in the atmosphere have drastically reduced the sunlight. The plants slowly stopped growing. With them, began to break the whole chain of life. It didn't happen in one day. It was a slow turning out of the world. Even our pack became smaller every day. Young people played less and less. Adults walked slower. The stops were longer, the silence ever deeper. One night I turned. I looked at the prints left behind us. There were so many, a lot less than a while before. I kept walking. Why stop means surrendering. A morning, the pack did not depart. Silence had become stronger than any call. The wind crossed the plain without meeting almost anyone. I looked around. The trees were bare. The ferns that once arrived beyond my back were gone. The ponds had become expansive of cracked mud. Even the air seemed different. Cold, heavy, empty. I kept walking. One step, then another, following an instinct I didn't know to explain. I wasn't looking for food anymore. I wasn't looking for the pack anymore. I was just looking. A place where the world still seemed alive. Most dinosaurs did not survive the months that followed the impact. It wasn't just fire or shock waves to condemn them. It was the slow disappearance of light. Plants, food, the balance he had sustained his life for millions of years. Yet, life didn't surrender. Small hidden animals underground, big mammals like a rat, birds, the only surviving dinosaurs until today. They went through that long winter. Start again. Today, when we observe a bird to lay on a branch, we are looking at the last fragment of that lost world. A legacy survived the greatest change in Earth's history. The story you have just experienced is a narrative reconstruction based on the best scientific knowledge available today. Some scenes have been recreated to allow you to observe events through the eyes of a dinosaur, while the main facts come from paleontological, geological, and climatological studies conducted in recent decades. Science continues to improve our understanding of the past. New discoveries can add details or change some interpretations, But the general picture of the impact of the asteroid of Chicxulub and the subsequent mass extinction is now supported by numerous independent tests. The main sources used for this reconstruction are Alvarez, LW, Alvarez, W, Asaro, F, and Michel HV, 1980. Extraterrestrial cause for the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction. Science. Schulte P. et al., 2010. Asterisk, the Chicxulub asteroid impact and mass extinction at the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary. Science. De Palma R. et al., 2019. Asterisk, a seismically induced onshore surge deposit at the KPG boundary, North Dakota. Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. National Geographic. The Day the Dinosaurs Died. Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology. Thank you for traveling until the last day of the giants.